Yes.
I'm sure you're aware of recent social media posts by our school board members, particularly our vice chair calling Charlie Kirk an uneducated white boy. Do you have anything to say to school board members who make these kinds of posts?
So what I will say is we have a education commissioner that is a pit bull, and his name is Stasi Kamoutsis. And and all I can tell the folks on the Alachua School Board is, you know, they are in Stasi, they have Stasi's attention. And it's not just on this, which is deplorable. What they've done to these students, the teacher, and this is wrong. And so there's going to be consequences for all of this. He is very quick to act. You know, I'll just be like, you know, getting ready. I'll be like going out the door, jumping in the car. I just check. I see he sent out a nastygram to another school day. I'm like, yes, all right, go ahead. So he is very much a bulldog on this stuff. And look, it's sad to say because, you know, here we are with such an esteemed university, but that school district has not covered itself in glory. I think that they've just it's like they're in a different world. Like, you know, you're a school board, but you're in the state of Florida, okay? You know, you're not a school board in Oakland or Berkeley, okay? So, you know, we have standards. We have certain things and rules and regulations that you have to abide by. I know that one teacher is going to be held accountable, and I know that there's going to be more, you know, that happens. And here's the thing on the Charlie Kirk, because, well, one, I mean, Charlie, when he was 18, was beating the bushes in Florida. I mean, I met him when he was 18, and he was in Florida a lot because we had a lot of people here that were generous to support his initiatives, and he even lived here for a time. And I think he went to Arizona because he met his wife, but he was in Sarasota for a time. So I got to know him. Yeah, I got to know him pretty well. But he really relished going to these college campuses and trying to bring ideas to those campuses that may not necessarily get a fair hearing usually, and that's certainly true in many parts of the country. And so he was doing that, and he did it with a lot of vigor and a lot of passion. He really believed in what he was doing. And shouldn't we want these students to be? I mean, he would take questions from all of the hostile students, and then he would answer, and they'd go back and forth. What I found in just what, because you know, he's honestly a lot more popular now because people are watching his clips since this happened. And what I found is, you know, the students that would challenge him, you know, had a superficial understanding. They were just parroting talking points, whatever was kind of, you know, cool to say amongst a little clique. The minute they had their assumptions challenged, they melted. And so what Charlie was doing was really kind of exposing why it's important that we have robust debate. You need to graduate from our universities where your assumptions have been challenged. And if it's all just kind of, you know, party line, you know, trying to indoctrinate a certain worldview, and you never have anyone push back on that, you're not going to be well suited to get out, you know, in this world, unless you're in a cocoon for the rest of your life. And there are some areas where you may be able to do that, but that's not for most people. So he really showed that, and you didn't have to agree with him, okay? But I mean, a lot of Americans do, right? It isn't like he's representing like 1%. I mean, there's tens of millions of people in this country, you know, that agree with his overall philosophy. And so to see somebody go through, I mean, say they don't like him, they don't like his views, set up on top of a building and assassinate him, that is taking the intellectual intolerance to a level that we have not seen. And I think it really crossed a very serious line in this society. I think that's part of the reason why it's become, it really got so much traction with the public. And as I said, there's people watching his videos now who probably didn't even know who he was prior to this happening. And I think it's because people are just horrified at the idea that, you know, you're out there, you're answering questions, you're having good faith debate, and someone's response to that is not even to just shout you down, not even to just create a melee so that the event gets canceled, to actually assassinate you. That was a dark day for this country. Now, in the aftermath of that, it was really troubling to see people, like, because, you know, look, if Antifa is celebrating his assassination, you expect that from, like, the very far left. But to have teachers revel in this across the country, to have nurses revel in this, to have people that are, you know, in major arteries of our society expressing glee that that was really a gut punch. That's saying we've got some problems. And so some people say, well, you don't have to like Charlie Kirk, free speech. Yeah, you don't have to. Are you allowed under the, are you going to get put in jail because you celebrated his assassination? No, you're not going to get put in jail on the First Amendment. But can we as a society and me as a governor look and say, you know what, I've got young kids. Do I want a teacher in the classroom whose response to that is to glorify it and celebrate it? No, I don't want that person teaching our kids. And we have a right to make that clear. I don't want to have somebody like, you know, if I have a family member that goes into the hospital and to have a nurse that thought that, or a doctor that thought it was good that this young man with 2 young kids, 31, was assassinated. There's something wrong. And so it's taking political disagreements and really creating a toxic atmosphere that you would revel in that. No one's saying you got to celebrate. If you didn't agree with them, you don't have to be something you're not. But when that stuff comes out, and the way it came out in like just normal segments of American society, that was disappointing. And especially given, like, you know, he was an activist, he was a young guy. To have that type of kind of hatred that you would celebrate it, that was that. So the teachers, these people there, all I can say is, you know, Stasi is on the case. And I'd imagine you're going to see some action in at least some of those incidents. All right, guys, thanks so much. Take care.